Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf says he will appeal a ruling by a federal judge that his lockdown rules were unconstitutional. Now, the restrictions included stay-at-home orders, limits on gatherings, and shutting down businesses. The judge said the policies were overreaching and arbitrary and violated citizens' rights. Does this expose an abuse of power under the guise of emergency actions that we've seen across this country? I want to bring in Young Americans for Liberty analyst Kristin Tate. Kristin, as soon as the news broke, we said, get Kristin on the show tomorrow. I mean, really, this is amazing, isn't it?
I love this federal judge, Charles, as he wrote in his ruling, the liberties protected in the Constitution are not just fair weather freedoms that we can toss to the side at any time. Our nation has faced emergencies in the past. We will face more emergencies in the future. But the solution to every national emergency is not to restrict our constitutionally protected liberties with these draconian political orders. Americans should never accept a new normal where our freedoms are just subject to the whims of these power-hungry politicians, these governors, these state elected officials. They are not kings. They have no right to tell millions of Americans to stay locked in their houses for months on end. They have no right to decide which businesses are essential and which ones need to stay shut down. At this point, the COVID death rates are way down. The hospitals have not been overwhelmed. So what are we all waiting for? The country should fully reopen quickly and safely.
I want to ask you, along the lines of that, what you just said, it's a term called creative combustion. I just heard it yesterday. Apparently last week, J.P. Morgan, which we reported on asking their employees to return to work. It turns out that it's because productivity is really suffering. In fact, according to reports, CEO Jamie Dimon says that the output by younger workers in particular were affected on Mondays and Fridays. So let's talk about that. How much of an issue do you think this is? The idea that, hey, no matter how much technology we have, there still has to be some sort of a person-to-person friction to create that kind of energy, the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of productivity that powers an economy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about this at all. In fact, what I find most shocking is that Jamie Dimon needed to hire a bunch of advisors and consultants to tell him that employees are less productive when they work from home. It's very easy to get distracted when you're working from home. I have many friends in my age group who are newly working remotely because of the pandemic. They tell me all kinds of things. There's one girl I know who sets her alarm for 8 a.m. every morning, gets up, turns on her computer so her employer thinks she's working, and then goes back to sleep for an hour. So if we are going to be working from home, it's going to take a lot of discipline.
I have employees, and believe me, our productivity on Fridays is horrible. Real quick, less than a minute, though, I want to talk to you about the villainizing and villainization of whatever the word might be of big businesses. Should we be cheering or jeering a company like Amazon? Today, the company announcing that they're going to hire an additional 100,000 people to help with the surge of online orders. They've got 1 million employees. Should we be focused on how much taxes they pay or how much economic output they generate for a million Americans and their families?
It's a hard question, Charles. This COVID has been such a boon to Amazon. The COVID lockdowns put in place at the state and local level has really killed mom and pop small businesses. You can't expect businesses to be shut down for months on end and be able to pay their retail rent. So while it's fantastic that Amazon is offering, competitive services for people who want to stay at home during a pandemic, the government-imposed lockdowns have unfairly hurt retail establishments, mom and pop businesses, small business owners. It's tragic, it's sad, and that's just another reason we've got to reopen the country so that small businesses and retail establishments with brick and mortar locations can be competitive against Amazon.
So we had a segment with 3 topics. If it was a slot machine, I would have pulled it down and each one would have said, open the economy, open the economy, open the economy, and the bells would have off and all the coins would have came out. Kristin, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Always.
Thank you, Charles.